I spent years becoming a doctor. Then I quit to build a SaaS business from scratch. Zero coding skills, limited budget, just me, some AI tools, and way too much coffee. Most people will tell you that building a SaaS application requires a technical co founder, or at least a developer on payroll, or a massive runway to figure things out. I'm proving that's wrong. In the last 45 days, I've registered my company, validated my idea, built a working prototype, and learned more about entrepreneurship than any course could teach me. For those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Fariha, a doctor who quit medicine to build a tech startup, and I'm building it completely in public, sharing everything along the way. And in this video, I'm breaking down my exact process, the pivot that saved me from failure, the AI hack that found my winning idea, the no-code stack I'm using, and why those build a startup in a weekend videos are setting you up for disappointment. Let's get into it. Here's where most beginners mess up. They start with a B2C idea. I did too. I thought, I'll create something for everyday consumers. Charge $5 a month, get thousands of users, and boom, profitable. But here's the brutal truth about building a SaaS app for consumers. They cancel. The second they don't feel like paying, gone. No loyalty, no stickiness, just churn. But then I watched a video that changed everything. Built for businesses, not consumers. Because when you solve a real business problem, when your product becomes integrated into their daily operations, they can't just walk away. It becomes a necessity. Think about it. A consumer cancels Netflix because they finish their show. But a business doesn't cancel their accounting software because what? They're not feeling it this month. That's the difference between a hobby project and how to start a SaaS business that actually scales. So I pivoted. Therefore, I committed to B2B. But here's where it gets interesting. Because deciding to build a business with AI is one thing. Finding the right idea? That's where most people get stuck for months. I was circling service business, nah, too time dependent. Physical products, can't carry inventory in my backpack while traveling. Digital courses, honestly, I wanted something that could grow without me being on camera 24/7. Then I discovered something powerful. I'm talking about leveraging Gemini Pro to analyze entire industries, identify patterns, and surface problems you'd never see on your own. Here's what I did. I sat down with problems my doctor friends complained about across different specialties, different countries, common pain points. Then I crafted detailed strategic questions for Gemini Pro. Not give me startup ideas, but analyze the workflow bottlenecks in multi specialty medical practices, considering regulatory compliance, time constraints, and revenue cycle management. Gemini generated a 15-page report. I spent 2 days reading it, analyzing it, breaking it down, and boom, I had my idea. But I didn't stop there, because an idea is just a hypothesis. Therefore, I reached out to 5 friends in medicine, asked if they'd actually use this. If I built a prototype, would they test it? 4 said yes immediately. 1 gave me a list of features it would need to be worth paying for. That's validation. That's how you build a startup from scratch without wasting 6 months on something nobody wants. And if you want to see my full breakdown of validating a SaaS idea, before you write a single line of code, I've got a detailed video on starting a SaaS business from scratch. I linked it in the upper right corner and in the description. Check it out after this. Alright, so I had a validated idea, therefore I knew the idea would work. But that just exposed the next massive problem. I still couldn't build it without coding. And hiring a developer, we're talking $50 to $150 per hour for anything decent. That's not sustainable when you're bootstrapping. Therefore, I needed a different approach. Enter no code tools. But here's the catch, there are hundreds of them. Bubble, Glide, Adalo, Softer, Flutterflow, the list goes on. It took me a month just to figure out which ones fit my needs. A whole month! Therefore, here's what I learned about how to build a successful business from scratch using no code tools. You need three things. One, a front end builder that lets you work for free until you're ready to publish. That's Adalo for me. I'm not paying monthly fees while I'm still figuring out my UI. 2. A backend that's compliant with regulations. Since I'm dealing with doctor and patient data, I needed HIPAA compliance. SmartSuite gave me that for $9 to $12 a month. Affordable and secure. 3. An integration layer that doesn't require coding. Zapier became my API bridge. That's my entire stack for building an application. Just tools that integrate seamlessly and stay within budget. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Those YouTube videos that promise you can build an AI based startup in a weekend or launch in 15 minutes. That's not reality, not unless you've done this before. Not unless you already know these tools inside out. Therefore, here's the truth. My journey took 45 to 50 days to get to a framework of my prototype. And I'm still building. Month 1 was just figuring out what no code tools even existed. Validating the idea took 2 weeks. Building the database structure in SmartSuite. My smallest module took me 3 days. And there are 10 more to go. Designing the front end in Adalo while learning how it works. Still ongoing. I even had a freelance contractor initially. But software costs piled up, not just for the startup, but for this YouTube channel too. I had to let them go. And you know what? Going solo forced me to learn everything myself. It's slower, but I own every decision, every feature, every pivot. Therefore, if you're thinking about how to start a SaaS business in 2025, understand this. The barrier to entry has never been lower thanks to AI and no code. But the barrier to success hasn't changed. You still need to validate. You still need to talk to real customers. You still need to iterate relentlessly. The difference now, you can do all of that without spending $50,000 on a developer first. So, yeah, I am a doctor building a B2B SaaS. I am using AI based startup ideas for beginners to level the playing field. I'm leveraging no code tools to move fast without burning cash. And I'm documenting every single step on this channel. So here's what you just learned. First, B2B beats B2C when you're starting out. Businesses need solutions, consumers want entertainment. Second, AI isn't just for generating content. It's your co-founder for idea validation if you ask the right questions. Third, ignore the hype videos. Building something meaningful takes time, but it's actually doable now, even if you're starting from zero. I'm nowhere near done, but I'm further than I was 45 days ago. And that's the point. Progress, not perfection. If you found this helpful, drop a comment below telling me where you are in your journey. Just thinking about it, actively building, or already launched. Hit subscribe if you want to follow along as I build this startup completely in public.